And welcome back to Extreme Genes Family History Radio. It is Fisher here with a special guest all the way from Ghana, Africa. It's Osei Bonsu, and welcome to the show. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And Mr. Bonsu is responsible for the collection of family history data in Africa in a process that would be very unfamiliar to many of us in the United States. Could you tell us how this works?
Well, everybody knows that in Africa, written records are not available. And indeed, it is true. We started having records, that is civil registration, census records, in 1949. That is what the time Sub-Saharan Africa started having written records.
1949. Wow.
And even that, it was only for the urban centers. The rural areas, nothing has been done. And even though we don't have written records, we have a lot of knowledgeable people that have their family history in their heads.
In their heads.
Especially, yes. There are some people that can give you from their head up to 9, 10 generations.
So we're talking 300 years
yes.
in their heads.
Yes.
Or even more.
Yes. Because some can date back as far back as the 1600s, the 1500s, and in fact, for people telling you up to 1800s is very easy. You know, the 18th century.
How do they get this in their head? And
well,
how are they chosen to be the ones who do this?
I must be frank that most of them do that with the help of aids. Some people do that by reading notches, a stick with notches.
Okay.
And each notch represents a generation. And so by looking at the notch, they will be able to tell you, this is the person that was heading this family, this was the person. So that helps them. Some people do that by skins. You know, some people do that by stool. If there is some kinship or inheritance, they do that. Some areas, they do it by graves. Some people bury their people in their compounds. So it has been there for long, and they can tell you that this grave belongs to our great-great-great-grandfather whose name was that and that and that. You know. So
wow.
Those reading device, if I should call it, help them to do that. Others, like 6 generations and others, are easy for them to talk from their mind. But those that go beyond 6 generations, 7 generations, normally have some sort of reading device.
Is this a job that's passed father to son?
Yes.
Or is it a group of people that have the same job?
It is. The family normally have one person or one particular lineage that learns that. Mm-hmm. And so they pass it on from one generation to the other. Unfortunately, now that thing is no more there. It's dying and dying very fast because the young ones are all migrating to the cities.
Huh.
So because of rural poverty, everybody wants to come to the city for greener pastures. They want to come to find out better life. And so the old men are left alone. Those who know are left alone. And so they don't have that opportunity to pass it on. And that is why we get worried. People like me, that is why we get worried. And these people are dying and dying very fast. And if we are not quick enough to capture,
it's gone.
It is gone. I give you one simple example that happened just last year. We interviewed one man, a 93-year-old man. He gave us very good stories that the family themselves didn't have a clue about. He talked to us about, he gave about 9 generations of his family. We finished the interview on Thursday. Saturday, the field officer went to say bye to him and the man was dead. So if you have waited for 3 more days,
yes, you'd have
all
lost
that
that.
information is gone.
Isn't that
And there are a
something?
lot of people that are dying and going.
You know, I was
that.
told many years ago by my mother that when somebody dies, a library is burned.
Certain. When an old man dies, a library burns down. It is a saying in Africa. And there is a saying in Africa that says that when an old man's muscles atrophy, in other words, decreases or shrinks, that of the young man increases or develops. That was the olden days. And if you want to translate it, what that means is that as the old man's memory, fades,
right?
that of the young man gets richer. And they say that with the intention that the old man is passing all the knowledge onto the young man.
Yes.
So as his is fading, that of the young man is getting richer.
Is growing.
But now it's no more like that. Like I'm saying, the young man
Right, they want to leave to the
they
cities.
live to the city.
Now, you're talking about Ghana, but you must be talking
Not
about other
about-
countries.
I'm talking about
all of
sub-Saharan
Africa. All of Africa.
Yes.
Are you having some areas where you can't get any records at all?
As at now,
Yeah.
apart from the recent ones I'm talking about, there are no records. 1949, the registration of civil registration took place in almost all the countries. Census, the first census, I think, started around 1960. Every country in sub-Saharan Africa started organizing census. So these modern ones, unfortunately, most of them are lost, either burnt, intentionally burnt, or destroyed. Now, if you are looking for them, those ones we are getting are around 1980, 1990. That's what we are getting. And those ones are too new or too recent to even be used for any family history work because most of the people are alive.
Right, or they know who those were, so
Exactly.
it's just duplicating.
Exactly.
You're not getting any further. Well, this is absolutely fascinating. How long have you been doing it?
We started in 2005,
Okay.
so that's about 13 years. No.
9 years.
9 years, about
Right.
9 years.
And how many names have you extracted then
So
or
far-
indexed in Africa?
So far, we have done 4.5 million, and we've done about 10,000 interviews and collected about 4.5 million names.
From the interviews alone?
Yes,
From these people?
yes. That's what
And how many of
we
those
have
people
got
are?
that we have
How
processed.
many of those people have died since you started
I
this?
can't tell, but maybe half of them.
Wow,
Maybe
isn't
half
that
of them.
something? It's
Yes.
been a delight. Thank you, sir.
Good to meet you.
Enjoyed it,
It's good to
Mr.
have you.
Bonsu, and
Thank
interesting things happening in Africa now, and great to talk about during Black History Month on
But we
Extreme
still have a
Genes.
lot.
Yes, you do. Great, that's fascinating.